I hope you're not surprised to know that you're not alone if you sit down to write and just can't seem to focus for your entire writing session. Or maybe if you set a schedule for writing and you can't commit to it no matter how hard you try. Procrastination is the act of delaying something that you know you're supposed to be doing. And to be totally honest, most new authors struggle with procrastination. Today, I want to talk about a strategy that you can use so that you can avoid procrastination altogether and put yourself in a position to get into the habit and pattern of writing successfully and committing and sticking with your goals. By using the strategies I'm going to share, you can shift your mindset, increase your productivity, and become more committed and in turn more successful with your writing. The neat thing is we deal with procrastination in a lot of different ways. Like maybe you procrastinate with work projects, maybe you procrastinate with cleaning, maybe you procrastinate with other goals in your life. So the strategy that I'm going to share is not only going to help you with your book writing, it can actually help you and you can apply it to other areas of your life as well. So the first step to start uncovering and beating the odds against procrastination is to identify the root cause. Many times we think the root cause is because we're lazy or other things, but the truth is there's often a root cause that's a lot bigger than we're first willing to acknowledge or even recognize. So a root cause could be that you've really made it a habit to procrastinate in every area of your life. A root cause could be that you don't really believe in what you're writing, or you're not sure if anyone else will believe in it. A root cause could be that it just feels easier to do what you used to do because it's familiar or safe. When you're able to identify the root cause, then in turn, you're able to address it. So for example, if you're like, the root cause is that I just really don't believe in my writing. I'm not sure if anyone will ever pick up my book. I'm not sure if it's going to stand out in a saturated market. Then you're able to address that by affirming yourself, by reminding yourself, what is my big why with this book? What is the purpose of this book? What do I hope to accomplish with this book? And how can I do that? If your root cause is that like you've created a habit or pattern of procrastination in a lot of areas of your life, then we have to think about the steps that we need to take to undo that, which we'll continue to go through now. The second step I want you to look at is I want you to look at your big goal and the expectations you have around it. Sometimes when we set goals that are a little too small because it's safe and comfortable, or we set goals that are a little too big and therefore they scare us. And when we're operating from a place of fear, procrastination is a good way that we acknowledge or respond to that. And so you have to look at your big goal with this writing goal. Is it that you want to finish your book in the next 12 days, but you haven't written since high school? Or is it that you want to finish your book in 2 years and you're like, I have time to get to it? Without identifying a goal with a specific timeline and a timeline that is going to be conducive to what you want to accomplish, it's going to be difficult to move forward with your writing. So at this point, if you identify that your goal is far too big or way too small, then maybe you need to shift that timeline goal or the word count goal or your expectations so that writing seems more relevant now. The next step is to remove any distractions that you may have. Sometimes we have distractions like in our mind. So maybe you're sitting down to write and we're like, I don't feel good enough. I'm not sure I'm ever going to be able to finish this. Why did I, set myself up for this goal? Sometimes we have distractions in our physical environment. So it could be that like every time you get in from work, you're like, I'm just going to watch TV and then, it just gets so comfortable and forget to get up and write. Remove your remote. Maybe if every time you sit down in your working space and your working environment to write, it's just really cluttered and chaotic. Change it, clean it up, clear off that mess on your desk, or shift your writing location. If it's the mindset stuff, remember we talk about affirming yourself. So remind yourself why you're doing this. Remind yourself of all the reasons that you're capable of it. One thing that I do is when I think of a limiting belief or a negative thought about myself on this process, I'll replace it with a reason that that's not true. So I may say, I'm not a good writer, right? That may be my limiting belief or my true thought. But then I'll say, you know what? My writing could be the very thing that could change someone's life. Or you know what? I've worked before and written blogs that have been shared. Or I've worked before and written a successful book. Or I've worked before and sent a really in-depth message to my family that was motivational and moving. And so I remind myself why those limiting beliefs are not real. Here's the reality. When we're able to remove distractions out of the writing process, then we're able to make room to really hone in and focus on making writing happen. So wherever that distraction is, identify it, remove it, and then go after your writing goal. The final step is to commit to it. We have to stay committed to our commitments. It is so important. And commitment is doing what you said you would do long after the emotion that you set it in has left you. So there are a lot of times where we're like, I'm super pumped up. I'm super excited to write my book. I'm feeling good. And you're feeling motivated. And then that motivation wanes and you're like, I'm not sure I'm ready to write my book anymore. Keep going. We have to stay committed even when we don't feel like it. And that's when it really pays off. I think about like marriages. That's why marriages that are successful last, because they stay committed even when they don't feel like they love each other, even when they're mad at each other. When I think about my book writing process, there were points that I hated the subject. There were points that I was mad at myself. There were points that I was annoyed with having to commit to this level and this high expectation, but it paid off in the long run. And so you have to stay committed. One of the best ways to stay committed is to write it in your calendar. Write it down like you'd write down a work appointment or a doctor's appointment or your children's extracurricular, and commit to it in that same way. It is not fair to us that we commit to everything and everybody else, but when it comes to our own goals and the things that we desire to do, we're like, I'll get to that when I feel like it. That's not fair. Commit to this because it is important. Commit to this because it matters. Commit to this because you want it. And here's the thing. When you commit to this on a regular basis and you make it a regular or daily practice, it becomes like second nature. To be honest, when I'm done with writing a book and I take a little break before my next book or before my next huge blog post or before my next client book that I'm helping with and onboarding, I look at it like, I feel empty. I started looking around. I'm like, man, it just seems like I have all this extra time in my day. And it feels weird because I have made it so normalized for me to build in a writing schedule. You want to get to that point. When you make it a normal thing to have a consistent writing schedule, you'll just get into the flow. And what you'll notice is those creative juices will just come natural. You'll just be ready to write. You'll already have ideas in your sleep and in the shower and when you're at work and when you're in the grocery store. These ideas will come because your body is already expecting for you to write. So make it a consistent schedule and commit to it. That is going to take you so far. And commit to pushing past the procrastination. When you notice yourself kind of getting off track, when you notice yourself getting pulled into things that have nothing to do with your goals, remember your commitment and the long-term benefit. Push past that and get started writing. So now that you have those strategies, I want you to start applying those today. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait for Sunday. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for the perfect day. There's never going to be a perfect day where you're not distracted, where you're not thrown off, where you're not wanting to watch TV, where you're not tired, where 10 people aren't, looking for your attention or time. There's never going to be that day. So the best thing you can do for yourself is just to commit to it anyways. So start today and commit to it.